Chaotic scenes in Melbourne tonight with police forced to use pepper spray on supporters of Novak Djokovic after the tennis superstar secured a big legal victory. Well, the world number one won a court battle to stay in Australia, paving the way for him to defend his title at the Australian Open. But the Serbs' troubles are not over. Live to Roger Maynard in a short bit. But first, a look at how the case began.
A little slice of Serbia in the heart of Melbourne. Fans of Novak Djokovic celebrated after he won a court battle challenging the cancellation of his visa. Australia had barred the 34-year-old from entry, saying he's not exempted from COVID-19 vaccination rules.
I'm saying that this has nothing to do with health, nothing to do with sport. It's all to do with control.
The saga began a week ago when Djokovic was denied entry upon touching down in Melbourne. The Serb was detained at an immigration detention hotel while his lawyers contested the federal government's move. The judge noted that Djokovic had sought and received the required medical exemption from vaccination on the basis that he had contracted the virus last month. But Australia insists that's not a valid reason for exemption.
The federal government's advice to Tennis Australia that was set out very clearly in November. As I read the extract from this very podium, it could not have been more clear.
There's much conflicting information, much contradictory information the whole time. So the conflicting information and the contradictory information that you receive is because of the changing environment.
The case has sparked a diplomatic row between Serbia and Australia. It has also fueled debate over national vaccination mandates.
Well, as promised, Roger Maynard joins us live. Roger, we saw there some over-enthusiasm by Djokovic supporters, but his visa woes are not quite over, are they? I mean, there's still a chance that he could be deported.
Well, that's right. There's still a big question mark over whether Djokovic will be allowed to stay here, even after his victory in court today. It was late afternoon, Melbourne time, but Judge Anthony Kelly overruled the decision by Australian Border Force last Thursday to cancel the visa that had earlier been granted Djokovic and hold him in a quarantine hotel. Now, that decision shocked his fans around the world and focused attention on Australia's somewhat draconian border laws. Djokovic asserted that he was wrongfully prevented from entering Australia, that he was denied procedural fairness because he was not given enough rest time and access to a lawyer before the Border Force decision was made, and that they did not properly apply the ATAGI advice, that's the Australian Technical Advisory Group on Immunisation, that a recent COVID infection was an official reason not to get vaccinated. His lawyers argued he was tested positive to COVID in the middle of December, which he believed met the demands of the government for not being vaccinated, and therefore met all necessary requirements in order to enter Australia on his visa.
Also, Roger, we know that, this case has sparked a global outcry as well as a widening diplomatic row. And, some people are saying that it's hard for Australia to come out of this looking good.
Well, that's right. The case has outraged the Serbian government and enraged his fans around the world. It's been an extraordinary day here in Melbourne, culminating in wild scenes outside the offices of Novak Djokovic's legal team this evening. Hundreds of his supporters swamped his car as he left the building for an unknown destination, with some of them lying prostrate on the road as they cheered and chanted his name. At one stage, police used pepper spray in a bid to control the crowd. Such was the level of jubilation over the outcome to this case. But it's still not cut and dried, with the government warning that he could be rearrested and deported regardless of the court's decision. Well, tonight, the Minister of Immigration, Alex Hawke, is reported to be considering whether to again cancel the player's visa and overrule the court's decision. So once again, we're in a legal minefield. Australia is divided over the rights and wrongs of the case, with many people believing all this trouble could have been avoided if Djokovic had simply been vaccinated. Now, a lot of people here have had personal experience of the government's harsh border restrictions, which have caused untold emotional hardship, and they resent the idea of a celebrity sportsman being allowed into the country, while Australians themselves have had no such freedom of movement. And those who have not been vaccinated have been largely demonised. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next few days play out.
Roger Maynard in Sydney, thank you.